Hi, this is CK at CK Education, and today I want to answer a question that many students and parents ask when their kids are in high school. And that question is, what are SAT subject tests? Now, if you already know what SAT subject tests and why you need to take them or why you don't have to take them, then you can skip this video, of course. But if you've not really heard of SAT subject tests, or if you're not sure, you've heard of them, but you're not sure of what they are, then this video is for you. Okay, so let me try to be as succinct as possible. SAT subject tests are 1 hour subject specific tests that tests your competency in that specific subject. Like the SAT test, just a general SAT test, has 4 sections, right? It has reading, writing, and then the math calculator, math note calculator, and then it has an optional essay. So that's 5 sections if you do the essay, but 4 if you don't. And that's like a 4 hour test. The SAT subject test is a 1 hour test, and the highest score there is 800. Okay, perfect score is 800. So, for example, some of the subjects that you can take are Math 1. Math 1 doesn't cover pre-calculus. Math 2, which most students take, I think, is a test that covers pre-calculus. And then you got like the sciences, chemistry, physics, biology. Biology splits into ecology and molecular. Ecology focusing more on systems, and molecular focusing more on the quantitative aspects of biology. And then you have foreign languages, and then you have US history, world history, you have English. And so these are some of the subjects that you can take. Now, you don't really need to take more than 2. And you only need to take them if at least one of the colleges that you're going to apply to requires the SAT subject test. Now, no college requires just one. That's why I say you have to take 2. Okay. Now, some of these colleges that don't require them but highly recommend them, I would probably take them for those colleges as well. Because most of the colleges that require SAT subject tests are pretty competitive. And so this is just another factor that gives the college admissions officers, it's another factor that gives them the opportunity to see what sets you apart. So they have your transcripts, they have your recommendation letters, they have your GPA, they have your SAT score, they have your, how many APs you took and the rigor of your, academic transcript. They look at your essays and so forth, and awards and extracurriculars and so forth. But another thing on top of that is, how did you do on the SAT subject test? So here's the thing about this. If at least one of the schools that you're going to apply to highly recommends or requires the SAT subject test, and how do you know? You just go to the website, or you can just Google, if you're applying to Johns Hopkins, does Johns Hopkins require SAT subject tests? I mean, it's as simple as that. Or you go to the website and you click on the admissions and incoming freshman admissions, and some of the requirements. It'll tell you for each school if you need to take it or not. Okay. So if at least one of the schools requires 2 of them, then you can usually just pick any 2 that you want to take. Some colleges, depending on if they require you to apply to a certain department or college within that college, okay? And when I say college within the college, what I mean is a certain, like the College of Arts and Sciences, or the School of Business, or something like that. Some colleges, few, but some colleges require you to apply to a certain department, sometimes called colleges, within that school that you're applying to, okay? And in those cases, if you're applying, for example, to the School of Architecture, they may require you to take physics or math 2 or something. Or if you're applying to the engineering department, they might require math and physics, okay, just as an example. Now, most colleges aren't like that. Most colleges, you just apply to the college and you get in, and then you can decide what you want to major in later. But like I said, a few colleges do require you to apply up front to a department. Okay, so in those cases, more often than not, they might require a specific subject that they want you to take. But in most cases, you can just take any 2 that you want. Okay, now if you a lot of kids, I want to take math 2 and I want to take physics, or I want to take math 2 and chemistry or something like that. Now, even if you're going to be an engineering major, if you think that you can do well in, let's just say, math and world history, for example, or US history and chemistry, if you mix it up like that with sort of a liberal arts side, like, history or English, and then also a scientific, more of a STEM like math and chemistry, I think that's a good mix. It shows that you're well-rounded because, think about it. Most of the kids applying to an engineering school or some STEM related field are probably going to take math 2 and physics, or math 2 and chem or something like that. So it would make you a little bit different if you took, let's say, English and math, or chemistry and physics, or, not chemistry, like world history and physics, or US history and chemistry, or something like that. If you mix it up, I think that's a good thing, okay? You could even take more than 2. If you're very strong in, let's say, physics and math, and then you're like, yeah, but I could kick butt in world history as well, you can take that as well, and you can submit 3 of them if you like, okay? I had this one kid, this is a crazy case, no joke, but he lived in North Carolina, and I think he took 6 SAT subject tests. Now, this kid, I've never seen a kid like this before. He was fluent in like 4 languages, okay? So he took, I think, 3 like core subject ones, and then I think he took like 3 foreign language SAT subject tests, and he killed them all. He did very well. So, I mean, very, very rare. But, I mean, you could do that. You could take more than 2, but I'm saying you don't have to take more than 2, okay? So you want to do that, and now, what's the best way to study for these tests? So let me just give you a quick tip on that. I think that unlike the SAT, which I don't recommend studying from prep books, it doesn't raise your scores, and I've talked a lot about this before in other videos. But for SAT subject tests, I will say that I would recommend just getting 2 prep books, okay? I would get a College Board book and then another one. I recommend like Princeton or Kaplan. I might just get one of those, okay? A lot of people pick Barron's because everybody, Barron's is so hard. Barron's is the most difficult one. Everybody's heard this, okay? Most difficult doesn't mean it's the best, okay? Sometimes Barron's will go over things that will never even show up on the test. So I think some of it is a waste of time. So I would just get like a Princeton and a College Board, for example. And here's what I would do. I would take the first test. Let's say you take the first College Board test, because all these books have practice tests in them. So you take the test, and let's say your goal is 780. You're trying to get 780 out of 800. And by the way, your goal should be a minimum of 750 on every test that you take. If you're not getting 750 or above, then I'm wondering why you're taking them. Because again, you're taking these to be competitive. You're taking these to show I not only have a great GPA and SAT score and blah blah blah, but I also kick butt on the SAT subject test. So you're really taking these to show that you have 2 other subjects that you're very good at. But if you're getting like 600, what would be the purpose of submitting those scores? Okay, you see what I'm saying? I mean, the whole goal is for you to show that you're really good at these things. And if you're showing that you're not very good, then what's the use of submitting those scores? So your goal should be to get, high 700s. I mean, over 750 minimum. Okay, so let's say you take your first test, you take the first College Board test, and you're like, wow, I missed whatever number you missed, and you, at the end of the book, in the back, you plug in like how many you got wrong. It tells you like a score. And you get, I got like 750. Okay, that's not bad. So you study up on the problems that you got wrong, and then you take the next one. And then you get like 750 again. You're like, all right, you do it again, and you get like 770. You're like, oh, it's getting better. Okay, so you want to continue that cycle until you get 3 consecutive tests in which you are scoring about 10 or 20 points above what you want to get. Let's say your goal is to get 780. Then I would say keep practicing until you get like 800 consistently, like 3 times, okay? And the reason I say get 2 books is one book usually doesn't have enough tests for you to go through to get to that level. Maybe it does, but usually it doesn't. So that's why I say get a College Board and a Princeton, so you have enough tests to go through, okay? So that's what I would do. And then if you feel pretty good, if you get like 3 times in a row, you get 800, I think you should register and take the next test. And I think you'll be good. And I think you'll see the problems that are pretty much what you've seen in the prep books. Okay. Now, when can you take these? Every subject is not offered every time the test is offered. And when are the tests offered? SAT subject tests are offered every time the SAT is offered. But you can't take the subject test and the SAT on the same date. You cannot do that. If you take the SAT in May, you can't also take the subject test in May. You cannot do that. You can only take the SAT or the SAT subject test. How many subject tests can you take in one day? You can take like 3, but I don't recommend it. That's a lot. So I would pick a maximum of 2, and I would just take them if you can on the same day if you're prepared. If not, no, there's nothing wrong with splitting it up. Maybe you take chemistry in May, and then you take physics in June, or math 2 in August. It doesn't really matter, okay? So take those, and then just go on. Now, when can you take it? You can take it anytime in your high school career, okay? Once you reach high school, anytime you take it is fine. Let's say you take it in 10th grade. Some people ask me, is that too early? Will it count? Of course it'll count. You take it in 10th grade, and it's on your record. You're good. So as long as you're in high school, you take it, it's on your record, and you don't have to do it anymore. If you're done, you're done, okay? Now, let's say something happens on the day of the test. You have this stomach ache, you have this headache, and you were prepared, but that morning, I don't know, something, you're not feeling good. So you go in there and you take it, and you just know that you did terribly on that test. You just know you did, okay? And if you know that you did, or in the middle of the test, you get a stomach ache, you got a headache, something happens where you're just, you're just totally out of it, and you know that you bombed that test. Before you walk out of the testing center, tell the proctor, the person who's administering the test, tell the proctor that you want to cancel the score, you want to cancel the test, and then they'll cancel it for you on the spot, and then it won't go on your record, okay? Now, if you do not do that, you know you bombed it, but you walk out of there, and you're like, the next day you're thinking, you know what, I want to cancel that test. You can still do that, but it's a much more urgent procedure now, okay? And you gotta mail it like FedEx next day to College Board by like that Wednesday, and it's a crazy hurried thing. So if you know you bombed it that day, don't wait. Just cancel it that day before you walk out of there, and then just schedule it again and just take it again another month, okay? All right, so that's what it is. Now, I feel like I've answered all the questions pertaining to subject tests. But if I haven't, and you have more questions about it, just leave them in the comments, and I'll make another video. I'll be happy to correspond with you and answer any questions you have. Okay, so anyway, I hope that was helpful. A lot more of these kinds of videos about college prep advice, as well as career advice and parenting advice and money and financial advice and mindset for success. These are all, I have over 100 videos on my channel. I upload new videos, at least one every single day, literally every single day. So you're always going to get new content. And so I encourage you to take advantage of it. I'm not doing this to monetize and make money. I'm not doing it to get more subscribers or more views. I really don't give a crap about that. I want you to be helped. If you're that one person watching, if you've been helped by this, awesome. That's what it's about for me, okay? So if you've been helped, cool. And I hope that you were helped. So that's what it's all about. Go check out the other videos, and I hope those will be helpful as well. Thanks for staying with me to this point in this video. And until my next video, I hope you stay well.